What is pre-entry? Everyone's heard of re-entry, right? Who's heard of re-entry? Can we just get a show of hands? Who's heard of pre-entry? Not the defenders, but other than defenders. So pre-entry is basically looking at a system of supports that happen and occur on the front end of the system. When you are arrested, there is very little room to understand who you are, why you did what you did, what you need, if you did it at all, and what we can do to connect you with someone that can help your case outcome go better. And in helping your case outcome go better, of course, it improves your life outcome. We are very committed to making sure we shrink this system at the front end. At this present time, there's very little opportunity to differentiate from behaviors. We get charges, and then we start really making decisions based on the charges and maybe a past history of interaction with the system. But there's little to no information about who the person is, what they stand to lose if we go through the process as usual, meaning if I go through the process and you get bail and you sit in jail, what do you stand to lose and what does your family stand to lose? All of that is not examined on the front end. And what we do is we deal with it on the back end when we lump people into reentry. Now, reentry has a huge place. It's very important. And there are some charges, by very nature of the charge, that are going to have to go through this system and come out at reentry. But one of the things I was very naive to when I was a young public defender is that things have to be this way. I was in this system, and I wanted to make a difference. But I thought that this is the way things have to be. People have to come in, they have to be assessed, and they have to come out with a scarlet letter C, stands for conviction, on their back for life. These are high stakes decisions. And these decisions, when I say high stakes, we're talking about branding someone for life that could relegate them to a life of second-class citizenship. Not only for them, but for their families. That is not what anyone in our community wants. That's not what this community wants. That's not what, I can tell you, that's not what the stakeholders want. We want to get things right, but how do we do that alone? And the answer is we can't. Me as a lawyer, when I have committed lawyers and I have committed social service staff, mitigators, we have people that are bail navigators, we can't do it alone because we don't know everything. How can we make better decisions and how we can get better information to make sure that people aren't being made more desperate? You. You are the most important commodity here tonight. And so this is why we're gathered here, to hopefully start to create an understanding of what we want to do so that we can move forward and create it for the rest of the world. I've been speaking for about 2.5 minutes, right? That's as long as it takes now for someone to decide your fate when you're arrested. And right now, when someone comes in charged with a crime, we make a 2.5 minute on average analysis as to whether or not you should be in jail or out. How can we do that? These are people. We're not widgets. So this is why we're here to discuss what we can do better. What's at stake? Well, when you get arrested, of course, we know jobs are lost. So when people lose jobs, they are no longer contributing to the tax base of the community. They are pulling from it. Losing benefits, that is huge. We have people that come in that are connected to mental health services through Medicaid or through some kind of public assistance. And when in doing that, they are able to keep themselves somewhat stabilized. When they come to the system and they sit in jail, maybe on a low-level bail or whatever else they're sitting in jail on, and they stay day 35, say their case is dismissed, they are now released back into that community without that benefit. That does not help improve public safety. In fact, it really creates more of a desperation and more of an opportunity for that person to do things in that community that we do not want. Housing. We have plenty of people that come in and they're on public housing, public assistance housing. Some just have their own apartments and they are sitting in jail 60 days or longer. We know what happens. If you take me out of my space for 60 days, I'm gonna come back to a home with no gas, no electricity, no water, and maybe that's boarded up and locked up. Lose kids. We have people whose kids, because they can't take care of them, because they don't have a village or support system, their kids end up in foster care because of our policies and procedures where if we made better decisions, some of the people don't have to go through that. And of course, they lose hope. They lose hope not in themselves, but they lose hope in everything that's supposed to be put in place to support them. Because if we're here to show what you need or to make decisions based on what you need, why can't we understand what you need? What I'm showing you right here is what we use to make bail arguments to a decision maker. And this is done by our pretrial services. And our pretrial service and MacArthur team are here, and they've been helping to make better inroads in this area. They've been working with us on a number of ways. But of course, again, they're not the community that we have here, just like we aren't as public defenders. But this right here is what we use. You see the information that's there? Does this give me a full picture of who you are? Does this give me a full picture of what you stand to lose if I don't make the right decision about your life? And does this give me information that can be useful to make better decisions as to whether or not you need to stay in this system or whether or not we can divert you somewhere else? So we want to change this type of information that we're getting to give to the decision maker. Because what we're saying is this is a very, very serious decision. And if it's a very serious decision, we need to take more serious, careful consideration about what we're doing with people. And so that is what pre-entry is designed to do. Again, we can't do it alone. We have to use the people and the help of the community. As we're looking at the top where the red is, that's what we want to get to. That's the goal, problem solving, future planning. We want people to solve their own problems and plan for their future. And that's kind of where our speed in the criminal justice system. When someone comes in, we want to tell you, okay, we want you to be this, so we want you to do this. However, all of those things that may help you think about that have not been met. How can I think about my future if I still have housing and basic needs? How can I think about my future if I still have employment, health care, and stability needs? How can I think about that if I don't have my children or if I had no connection to my family? And then if I'm never respected in my own community, if police treat me like I'm fungible or thrown away, how can I think at that level? And here's all the gaps that who fills? You! You! We all fill those. I can't fill those. I don't know the person. Neither can my most amazing genius lawyers and bail navigators and social service experts. But guess who can? Communities. You know the streets. You know the neighborhoods. You know what's lacking. And you know what opportunities are there. So that's what we're trying to get to, a real understanding of people, because we can't process them like they're numbers anymore. Too many times and too often we make decisions about community without community. So at the end of this night, we're going to ask to take a pledge. We're going to ask to join us in this movement. And we're going to ask you to be a part of this process, not on the outside of the process. And we're going to do it in a series of meetings beyond this room. This is not the end. We're going to come out to your rec center. We're going to come out to wherever you have a gathering. And we're going to really talk about and go through our system structure and say, how can you be a part of it? Not just be a person that's talking about it.